Hello and welcome, dear viewers, on this special coverage on Nile TV International, where we bring to you the latest events on the international, regional, and local ground. And this is Sahar Ittalawi, and I'll be presenting first. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli held a press conference on Wednesday following the weekly cabinet meeting on the latest economic developments. Madbouli reiterated that Egypt is capable to become an international trade hub due to the Suez Canal, which he said he considered an important strategic waterway. Details follow in the report. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli held a press conference on Wednesday following the weekly cabinet meeting on the latest economic developments. At the beginning of the press conference, Madbouli asserted the significance of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's participation in the G20 summit in Brazil and pointed out the economic outcomes of this. Madbouli reiterated that Egypt is capable to become an international trade hub due to the Suez Canal, which he said considered an important strategic waterway. The Premier affirmed that the government works on boosting the industry sector through signing a number of agreements with international partners and pointed out to the return of Nasr company for cars production during this week. He stressed also that the importance of the private sector's contribution in the field of vehicles industries and said that Egypt and China will cooperate in this domain during the next year. Madbouli further added that the government seeks Egypt to become a regional and international hub for the car industries through the coming period. And in another domain, Madbouli said that the state is taking serious steps to enlarge its renewable and solar energy resources and benefiting of new technologies in the field of clean energy. The Prime Minister also said that the Cabinet discussed means of controlling external debts and foreign currency high, as well as expanding exports during the coming months. And to shed more light on the Premier's statement during the press conference on the latest economic development, we are joined over the phone by the Professor of Economics, Dr. Sayed Al-Khouly. Good evening, Doctor. How are you?
Good evening. How are you?
Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli asserted the significance of the President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's participation in the G20 summit in Brazil. What would be the impact of the economic outcomes of the summit on Egypt, in your point of view?
First of all, Egypt is playing a very important role, and today we have to talk about industry, which is really the new development in Egypt. And in order to improve our economical situation, we have to pay great attention to industry. Remember when he really talked about manufacturing cars in Egypt, and we used to, in the 50 and 60 and even in the 70, we used to produce Nasr car and stopped for a reason or another, but to really reinvent the wheel, and we start to really produce an Egyptian car with a local component of about 60%. That's a great news. And you talked about in your report, Egypt will be considered as the hub for industry or for car industry. I will add to you, in the future, Egypt, because of its location, because of its human resources, because of its raw materials, it will become a hub for industry, not only car industry, but all different kind of industry, especially the mineral industry.
Yes, okay. And Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli reiterated that Egypt is capable to become an international trade hub. To what extent the Suez Canal will help reaching this goal as considered an important strategic waterway in Egypt?
Let's really focus on why investors are interested in Egypt. For many reasons. The location of Egypt, and we have the Suez Canal, we have the Nile River, we have the Red Sea and Mediterranean Sea, and the logistics is very important. For Chinese, in order to bring their products, for example, cars, whatever, any product to Middle East and Africa, the cost of transportation, it became very high. So this will be a great opportunity for Egypt to invite investors to have a joint venture between Egypt and many other countries like Chinese, like Russian, European country, even American organizations come and invest in Egypt. Of course, for the sake of reducing cost and logistics is very important. And remember, in the last 8 years, Egypt moved forward for really have a great job when it comes to logistics in terms of roads, infrastructure, in terms of tunnels, bridges, and so on, expanding the Suez Canal in 2 ways instead of one direction. And all of that will enable Egypt to attract more and more foreign direct investment. And this foreign direct investment is become through joint venture where Egypt have all different kind of elements that encourage foreign direct investment to come to Egypt. And the only thing we're missing is the technology. So when we have a partnership, when we have a strategic alliance with foreign entity, it will enable us to be the hub for industry, not only the car industry, but for many other industries. Remember, Sinai, I consider it as the safe haven for economic development in Egypt. We have a lot of raw materials in Sinai. If we extend our attention to invest in machine tool industry and in mineral industry, Egypt in the future, in economical terms, it will be in a different place in the near future.
Okay, and the Premier also pointed out to the return of the Nasr company for cars production. How do you assess Egypt's future in the field of the car industries in the light of its cooperation with Chinese firms in the domain?
Of course, when you have a local manufacturing industry, when it comes to Nasr car, for example, the cost for, you remember the price of car, the foreign car now is sky high. So when it comes to really manufacturing our local car, our local brand, and we can use for the local customer, we have millions of people demand the cars here in Egypt. And if we produce the car, it will be at a lower cost, and it will be able to a very competitive price compared to foreign imported car from outside of Egypt. And of course, Egypt, it has a great location which we can really export what we produce in a local car here to many African nations, many Middle Eastern nations, and so on. And the model we have, it, as I told you, in the 50 and 60, we have the Nasr car manufacturing car company, and we stopped that about 20 years ago, and Morocco built their own car industry and became to export and produce over 100 million cars in the last 8 years. And we started after us by 20 years. And now it is the time to use our engineer, our workforce, our marketing strategy in order to produce more and more cars, not gas cars, but also electric cars. Remember when Egypt really have the COP27, and we started to look for green energy, and we can use green energy cars to produce here in Egypt. That will be a competitive edge for Egyptian industry in the future.
Okay, Dr. Saeed Al-Khouly, the professor of economics, thank you so much for being with us. And now moving to Israel. An Israeli occupation airstrike killed 7 Palestinians in the western Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip. And the Gaza medics said that the strikes hit a group of Palestinians in Al-Mawasi, a humanitarian designated area. The details follow in the coming report.